Hello, good morning, and welcome to this taste challenge. I'm not calling this Dawn Busters because it's dark. This is nearly 6 a.m. Central Time, and it's dark because that's your stinking daylight savings time, which some people love, and I hate it. It should not be pitch black at 6 a.m. All right, but enough of that. Here's Calvert Extra. 100% blended American whiskey, blended and bottled by Calvert, Claremont, Kentucky, Frankfort, Kentucky. Okay, anytime you see those two cities, that's Jim Beam Company, James B. Beam Distilling. It's not Calvert. Calvert, not really. Well, it was a company at first. Okay, blended with the finest whiskeys. Oh, yes. There's the grand seal of Calvert. Doesn't say they make it. They say they blend it and bottle it. That's why they call it American blended whiskey, because they probably got some of the whiskeys coming in from Indiana, especially when you know the history of this product. This is an old bottle. It's smudged too. Hold on, I'll be right back. This is an old bottle from the Beam days. Hold on, I'll explain that. I'll explain that in a minute. Here's the competitor, Well Made American blended whiskey. Got like a branding iron on it. It's a black and white with gold trim label. Nice looking label. I think our friend David didn't like it, but I thought it was nice. Just simple branding iron. There's a whole line of Well Made. There's Well Made vodka, Well Made gin, Well Made brandy, Well Made rum, silver and gold. There might be a overproof. Also, there's Well Made tequila, silver and gold. We know those are imported. I think they have some liqueurs like schnapps and stuff like that. And then there's the blended whiskey. Introduced in 2017 by Diageo, who still owns it today. They don't promote it. There's no website listing. It just exists on the shelf. But it was introduced in 2017. That I know for sure. Is it common in Louisiana? Definitely not. I've seen it twice. I first found out about it at a place called Broadway Liquors on Broadway Street in New Orleans. I didn't like the price they had for it, so I didn't buy it. It was only one bottle, and it's gone now. But I ran across it again earlier this year at Star, which is a liquor store / convenience store / gas station. They sell pure gasoline. And I found this at their Gretna, because they have 3 locations that I'm aware of. 3, there may be more, but I'm aware of 3. In Gretna, Louisiana, on Louisiana Highway 23, and they had a whole liter bottle. I think they only make liters, because that's usually what you see on your well drinks. $9. I said, I'll get it. Now they probably have this at New Orleans Wholesale Liquors, which is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, including Christmas Day. But you can't buy liquor there unless you're a business and have a wholesale license. But I'm sure they've got it. They carry everything. Mainly they carry stuff for like bars and restaurants. They go over there and buy a whole load of stuff. Okay, but there it is. You might see it, but you'll probably see it at a bar or a restaurant, bar and grill type of situation. Tavern, pub, with the, public house, pub. Here's the Calvert, introduced 1934 by an independent company in Baltimore, Maryland. Calvert, Lord Calvert. The Calvert family, Lord Baltimore, who founded Baltimore. Catholic family. Wasn't started by them, this liquor. Apparently it was looks like a nice bottle. Calvert is fantastic, I think, says Alex. Good morning to you, Alex. Apparently, when it started, it was pretty nasty. The opinion of people, it was bad. They had some operations in Canada, the Dominion of Canada, and there's a Lord Calvert Canadian whiskey also, um, which I've had, but my bottle's all gone. I found a regular bottle for $10.99. Now I found this at International Market, and it was like filthy. I mean, it's the worst looking liquor bottle I ever saw. Covered with grime, but I could see it wasn't open, and I couldn't figure it out. Now I know they renovated that place recently. They like moved all the shelves around, put new flooring down, so they had a lot of activity going on in there up till 2023, including 2023, I believe. I think this was something that had rolled underneath a shelf and stayed there for 25 years. And one of the workers picked it up and set it on the shelf, and it got left there. And the people running the store either didn't notice it or didn't get to it, because it's all reorganized now. It's very neat in there now, neat, clean, and tidy. But when it was under construction, things were kind of in disarray. So I said, I bet you it's not even in the system. I'm saying this to myself, I brought it to the counter. I said, is this, what's the price on this? She scanned it, $8.99. It was in the system. I said, I'll take it, $8.99. Hey, Ron, how the heck do you find such good prices? Just stumbling across them. I'm not looking for them. Oh, I could show you something I found yesterday that will blow your mind. Blew my mind. I still can't believe it. I think it's like a dream, All right, anyway. Okay, so Seagram's came along like in 1937, I think it was. Doesn't matter. They bought the whole company. They're like, your whiskey's terrible, but we'll buy it, because they I think they wanted that distillery in Baltimore is what they really wanted. So they bought it, and they kept it around until they sold a whole bunch of their products to the Jim Beam Company, James B. Beam Distilling, in 1991. They made this decision to get out of the liquor business and get into focus on, because they were already into it, focus on media, like entertainment media, video games, streaming media, and all this. Because see, that was becoming a big thing. Okay, so they sold off a whole bunch of their stuff to Sazerac in 1989, like Dr. McGillicuddy's Fireball. You've heard of Fireball. Then in 91, they sold a whole bunch more to Beam. And then 9 years later, they started selling everything to whoever wanted to bid on it. All right, so they got totally out of the business. The Seagram's name's still around, but the company is gone. The people are, well, the company in a way is still around, because the people, the family, they invested all of the money into buying stock in a company called Vivendi today. But anyway, that's what happened. All right, well then, Beam decided about 2015, after the buyout from Beam Suntory bought, they wanted to shed some of the lower brands, the lesser, not all the economy brands, because they still had many, but many of them. So they said they sold a bunch to Luxco, and that's why Luxco got it. So it's had 4 owners in its history. The original Calvert people, whoever they were, for only a few years. Then Seagram's for many decades. Then Beam Company for a couple of decades. Or almost 2 decades, 2001. Yeah, over 2 decades. And then Luxco since, okay? Craft Beer Tastic says, I'm curious if well made is actually a pun. That's what I've been saying the whole time since I first bought it. I said that's a double entendre. It's well made, but it's made for the well whiskey. Does it imply the product is specifically made to be a low-end bar brand for mixing, or is it just a well-made whiskey? It's both. Well made is a decent brand. It's both. It's made by Diageo or made for Diageo. But so, they have a quality standard. So you got that going for you. And it's made for the well. That's why it's a whole line of, like I said earlier in the video, vodka, gin, rum, brandy, and so forth. Okay. So it's well made for the well. That's probably why you don't really see it in liquor stores. It would be mostly at these wholesale outlets. Now, interesting thing. Oh, it's 79% grain neutral spirits, and 21% straight whiskey. So it's probably straight bourbon. We can't say it's bourbon because we don't know. But it most like because usually these American blended whiskeys, they're using bourbon as their straight whiskey, but they don't have to. If you read your regulation, it just says straight whiskey. They could be using straight corn whiskey for all we know, but they don't taste like they do. They just taste like they're adding bourbon. Okay, now some people call them brown vodka. It's not vodka. It's not using vodka. So if you say that, you might want to go do some more research. Grain neutral spirits and vodka are related, or I should say can be related, because all vodka is not made from grain, but some is made from potatoes or even grapes. But grain neutral spirits and vodka are not the same product. And if you think they are, you might want to go, like I said, do some more studying. It would help. So there we go. Got to pull that out a little bit to keep it, the comic book box, keep it from falling over. Okay, so the appearance. You've had well made, Alex? Okay. I agree, it's decent, nothing fabulous, but, you know, nice. Almost an identical pour, but I got a little bit more of one, but it's not enough to make a difference in weight. So we got a deep amber or even copper and a lighter. Could they be adding coloring? They could be, because if you read your regulations, American blended whiskey may contain coloring and flavoring. Coloring and flavoring. They don't have to disclose it. If you read your chart, it says disclosure not required. You know, they've got a chart. You can look up ttb.gov. Now, they're allowed to disclose it. You hear what I'm saying? But it's not required. Now, Sazerac, they like to put that on their labels. If they're adding coloring or flavoring, they'll tell you. They'll just put it on there. Same thing with Heaven Hill. They'll just put it on the thing. All right. Other companies, well, they're following the letter of the law, and that's it. Okay. Show you the website for this, and then you'll see what I mean about it. Meet the family. First started in 1959. We've grown our portfolio one brand at a time. Welcoming in hard working brands only after we're convinced they'll spark growth for our company and opportunity for our partners. And Calvert was one of those brands that they brought into the family. Beam. There it is. Same exact bottle design. Look at that. Didn't change the label one iota. Black label with maroon, gold, red. Standard red, then maroon, gold, and white. And there you go. But look what it says. True blended bourbon. Calvert Extra delivers an incredibly delicious, robust, and quality bourbon. Bourbon. Who wrote this? Because it says on the bottle, they're showing there on the website, blended American whiskey. You say, yeah, but bourbon is an American whiskey, and usually it's blended. It seems bizarre that they would describe it that way. But that's how they did on the phone when I called Buffalo Trace. I was asking about Kentucky, and then the lady goes on a long talk about blended bourbon. Oh, she said, with our blended bourbons, and she's talking, and I'm okay, Kentucky Dale is a blended American whiskey, but she was off from a blended bourbon. So, which is telling you what? They're adding bourbon to the spirits. Calvert Gin, see that? Calvert London Dry Gin. Scene. Lord Calvert, Canadian, yes, I had a bottle. I bought it at a store that's now out, but I found that in Marrero, Louisiana, on Louisiana Highway, United States Highway business route, westbound. Okay, there's a brand like for Lord Calvert. They even make a Lord Calvert Black. It's got a bottle with a different bottle design, and it's really fancy. And like a fool, I didn't buy it when I was in Georgia for $11.99. Stupid, right? But I see it around somewhere. Yeah, right. I saw it around. Never again in my life. Okay, but it is still made. So there's the story on that. Lord Calvert is good. I agree with that. I enjoyed my bottle. I'm sure it's a mixture of coloring and natural flavors. Yeah, most likely, but they don't say it. I can't say that for sure. We can't say that for sure. Let's face it, aging whiskey in oak barrels is adding some coloring. Yes, but that's from the charred oak. So technically, yeah, it's adding coloring, but from the traditional whiskey process. It's not like they make the whiskey and then they tweak it with caramel color, like they do with so many Scotch whiskeys, single malt or blended, Irish whiskey and Canadian whiskey and American whiskey. Okay, interesting thing. Calvert is 100% whiskey blend. There's no grain neutral spirits in it. Okay. How do I know that? Because I've studied my regulations. If you use grain spirits, fine. You're allowed to do it. And you can use raw, unaged grain spirits up to 80% of the content. But the grain spirits have to be stored. Now, this is right off the web site for the government. They have to be stored in wooden vessels. Well, I'm thinking to myself, if you're storing it in wood, wouldn't it be aging in wood? Now I know what you're going to say. Yeah, but they might only store it for a week. That's true, a week. Still, technically, it is aging. You know, I'm sure the impact is minimal, if any, but it is aging. And that's the whole thing about vodka, because vodka can never be in contact with wood. If you read your regulation, vodka can never come in contact with wood, ever. Once it has to be in stainless steel tanks. So once vodka touches wood, it's no longer vodka, it's a whiskey of some sort. I didn't write the regulations. Okay. Who will win? I don't know. I've only gotten it right twice and I've gotten it wrong 4 times. So that's telling me that either I don't know what I'm doing. I doubt that, because I'm pretty good at tasting these, I think. Secondly, the second choice is that the well-made isn't that much different from the other one, so it doesn't stand out. It's indistinguishable, and that, I believe, is the root of the problem. So they chose to make 100% whiskey blend. You say, what kind of whiskey? I would assume your typical stuff. Remember, now we're working under assumption, not certainty. I'm trying to get this camera to behave. We're working under certain assumptions. Corn, rye, malted barley, whiskey, or wheat, or even rice. They have a rice whiskey from Louisiana. They can store it for 6 to 7 years in oak barrels. Where did you hear that? And what are you talking about? You talking about the grain spirits? Where do you get that information? Okay. Do they have any other all whiskey blends? Yes. You ever heard of Early Times? That's an old brand. That's from 1860. 1860. That's before Abraham Lincoln became president of the United States. 2 to 3 years is sufficient. Okay, but I'm not sure what you're talking about, what product you're talking about. You say it, but it meaning what? But Early Times is not a bourbon, although I think there is a bourbon version that you almost never see. But Early Times is an American blended whiskey. No neutral spirits. There's no grain neutral spirits, but it's aged in old barrels, old oak barrels, not new charred oak barrels. So that's why it can't be called bourbon. Secondly, remember what I said, you could add flavor into it. And it says right on the bottle with natural flavors. That's what Sazerac put. When Sazerac bought Early Times from Brown-Forman, they started adding that to the label with natural flavors. Because like I said, that's their practice. They put that on there. No, guess Brown-Forman didn't do it. Oh, bourbon whiskey, yeah. Oh, you could age bourbon 100 years if you wanted to. You just have to age it in new charred oak barrels for however long you want to age it. There's no minimum age requirement. You could theoretically age bourbon for 1 day in a new charred oak barrel and call it bourbon. Now, I don't know who would buy that, but you could do it. Straight bourbon is what most people are talking about or thinking when they say it has to be aged at least 2 years. That's straight bourbon. Straight bourbon has to be 2 years. Okay. All right. Enough of the technical aspects, which are very interesting. I love talking about that kind of stuff because it's just interesting. All the nuances. Mm. Smells like whiskey. You say that's not a definition, smells like whiskey. Actually, it is. It's a legal definition. If you look at the Tax and Trade Bureau regulations, it says whiskey has to have the aroma and flavor generally associated with whiskey. The aromas and flavors generally associated with whiskey. Now, figure out that. Figure that out. And if you read the Scotch whiskey regulations of the United Kingdom, it says having the aroma and flavor generally associated with Scotch whiskey. Or Canadian says the same thing. Aroma and flavors generally associated with Canadian whiskeys. So I don't know how you could quantify that. I tried some Barefoot Pinot Grigio yesterday. I recommend it. Yeah, I think Barefoot's really popular. It's a good wine brand. Yeah, and it got bought out by E&J Gallo. That's what they do. They buy everybody out. Barefoot was independent, but money talks, sentiment walks. You say, but it's family owned. Ain't it's still family owned. It's just owned by the Gallo family. They even bought. Look, they buy high end wines. Gallo has some $300-400 bottles of wine, but they cover all the bases. They also bought out Wild Irish Rose, and yes, you heard me right, Wild Irish Rose. Can you believe it? And they talk about it on their website like it's something really, like it's a wine you want to track down. Clinking the mugs, yep. I love looking at that E&J Gallo website because they play it all with a straight face. I mean, they play it straight, They're like, Mogan David wine is so luxuriously smooth and wonderful. And I'm like, mm-hmm. And Wild Irish Rose. I'm like, yeah, buddy. But they used to make Night Train Express, and that's gone now. And there was another one, cheap one they used to make that's gone. It was called Thunderbird. They don't make it anymore. I never did get to try it because every time I found it was like way out of date or the price was too high. I was like, I'm not paying those $6.99 for Thunderbird. It's $1.99 wine, man. But it's gone, and then no one misses it, I guess. You say, oh, the hobos are so heartbroken by no more Thunderbird. I remember hearing about those wines when I was in high school, and kids would always talk about Night Train, Thunderbird, MD 2020. And I can remember in junior high, kids saying, MD, they would call it Mad Dog, but they say, MD stands for Mogan David. I said, really? That makes sense. And in fact, if you ever see a Mogan David MD, if you see an MD 2020 case, like the 12-pack cardboard cases that they deliver it in, it says on the side, Mogan David. Hope you pick it correctly this morning. Get the win, loss record more in balance. I know. Thunderbird is cheap but good. No, Thunderbird is discontinued. Okay, taste time. Enough huffing and puffing. I don't want to blow this house down. Nutty. Bourbon-esque. Does it taste like bourbon? Yes, in very, very many ways. Vanilla, the oak, honeysuckle nectar, and sugar water. Yeah, when it was around. But you see, these are softer than bourbon. They're lighter. It's like a lighter version of bourbon. Do some people prefer American blended whiskey over bourbon? Yeah, some do. Not many, but it's not cheaper. You're not saving money. Let's look at it like that. If you buy American blended whiskey, you're not saving any money because you can buy American straight bourbon for the same price as American blended whiskey, same price. You know, I'm talking about on the lower end. I know where to buy. What's that one called? Not Elijah Craig, not Ezra Brooks, Evan Williams, and this started with an E. Evan Williams. I can buy 750 milliliters, same size as this Calvert. 750 milliliters. Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, aged 3 years, a year longer than required. Sour mash, charcoal mellowed, or they say on the bottle, charcoal filtered. Same thing. $9.98. True story. Okay, this is the Calvert. I know why. Because it tastes different. There's more oak. It's a more oak flavor. And you get the rye spice. And it just tastes like it's all whiskey. You know what I mean? No, I mean, it's just like a rounded. If you gave this to someone, they would definitely think it was bourbon. Like if you just gave it to them blind and said, try this, what do you think? They would probably say, oh, whose bourbon is that? I mean, that would be the first thing they would say. I don't. They wouldn't say rum or brandy or vodka, but they would say bourbon, you see. Evan Williams versus Jim Beam. Who wins? I would say whoever's cheaper. They're about the same, really, as far as quality and enjoyment. I would score them, and I throw Ezra Brooks right in the mix. All three. It's a trifecta. You neither gain nor lose on those. I mean, I'm talking about the base models now. Rich charred oak, and I mean a lot of charred oak. Now, you might come at me saying, hey, dummy, it's not Asian charred oak. It would be called bourbon, right? Correct. It's called American blended whiskey. And it's probably from different states in America. It's blended and bottled in Kentucky. Well, now in Missouri. If you get the new bottles, it's going to say St. Louis, Missouri. But even their website's calling it a bourbon. Isn't that comical? The website calling it a bourbon, and it's showing a photo of a bottle says blended whiskey. Cracks me up. Okay, so I'm not even going to hem and haw. This is the Calvert Extra, and it's better. It's a better product. So do you get a better product when it's all pure whiskey? Well, in this case, you do. I don't have a bottle of Early Times that's open. I have an unopened liter bottle. Got it for $9.99. True story. I'm not even making it up. No. 9 even. That's right, because they had the Well Made for 9 and the Early Times for 9 even at Star. I couldn't get over that. A liter. I said that Early Times for $9.99 for a whole liter. I mean $9 even. I keep saying $9.99. I said, oh man. $18 even plus tax for 2 full liters, 2 liters. You say, well, you can get a liter of Coca-Cola for, I know, but that's not the same thing. Okay. I knew it. Thank you, Calvert Extra, for standing out and helping me up my win-loss record to 3 wins, 4 losses. Still not going to make the playoffs if I don't start getting on the ball, but at least I'm getting close to even. Evan Williams is a national treasure. Says Craft Beer Tastic. It is. All right, now, so the winner, I'm the winner, and the winner is Calvert. Clearly better and not a dime more expensive. In fact, I got it for $1.01 less. Of course, it's a smaller bottle, so I actually paid more per ounce, you know, but it's 25% smaller bottle. But man, oh man, you want to see the great deal I got yesterday? Anyone? Yeah, it would be $11.98 $11.99 for a liter. If this was the same price in a liter, it'd be $11.99. Still a deal. Let's see the deal. Okay. All right. So hold on. I'm gonna show you. And I'm telling you, you're not gonna believe it. I can't believe it, and I bought it. Now I'm telling you now. When I saw this yesterday at Mathern's Market, I was shocked like a man who was shocked. Because it seems, now you know what I'm about to show you, because you can tell by the, anybody want to get, you could tell what, look at that, you know what I'm about to show you. What is this? You know what I'm about to show you. You know what I'm about to show you. What is that? That's wax. That's wax. That's pure wax. So you know what I'm about to show you. These are 2 half-size bottles, but Mathern seems very reasonable. Are they reasonable? Are they reasonable? I'm going to tell you another thing. I was there Sunday. They had Jim Beam Bourbon Cream. Now, that's $18.99 if you find a deal. That's $18.99 if you can find a deal. Because Total Wine and More had it for $18.99. I checked yesterday. I found it Sunday for $5.99. Not even kidding. And these are fresh bottles. These are not the old black label. This is the new white label with the gold trim. You know, it looked like a swirl. Jim Beam. I can show you the bottle. I'm not lying. Jim Beam Bourbon Cream. $5.99. Now that's a shock, but this is even more of a shock. Cognacs, I don't know. Well, cognac, I wish they would have cognacs. But look, here we go. Get ready for action. Okay, let me turn off the lamps because they glare too much onto the product. And anyway, you don't need a lamp anyway. All right, look at this. Knob Creek Rye. Now, nobody had a deal because this is actually discontinued as of last year. You say, what? They discontinued Knob Creek Rye, 100 proof? Well, no, they actually upgraded it to Knob Creek Rye 7-year. This was the non-age stated Knob Creek Rye. It didn't have an age statement. It was at least 4 years old, probably like 6 or 7, 5 or 6 or 7, you know what I mean? But last year, they upgraded it to Knob Creek 7-year. Still 100 proof. Same label, it just has a number 7 on it in that empty space where my finger's pointing. It says 7-year rye. Look at this. So that's why they got it cheap, because they discontinued it. 2 halves make a whole. You want to guess what I paid for this? You're not going to believe it. For these 2 bottles, this is 750 milliliters. And the cheapest price, I did a search yesterday after work. The cheapest price I found was $32.99 at Total Wine, but they had it in another state. I couldn't, Texas somewhere. Oh, dang. $32.99 was the cheapest price I found. Now, some people had it for like 40 something, but I think that's too high. But it was like $36.99, $34.99, $37.99. But one place had it for $32.99. I got these 2 bottles, which adds to a whole bottle, a full-size bottle, $15.98. $15.98 for this 750 milliliters of Knob Creek Rye, 100 proof. It sounds crazy, but I needed some rye whiskey eventually for more taste challenges. That's more than half the price on it, just more than half off, more than 50% off. Unreal. I know, not bad at all. Unreal, unbelievable. I said, man, Mathern's shocks the world. They literally shocked the world. Well, you never know, man. You just never know until you see it, and then you know because you're looking at it. All right, well, y'all take care. Thanks for watching this 35-minute video, which was a fantastic showdown. Cheers to Calvert Extra. Unfortunately, I only have enough left for maybe 2 more taste challenges. It's a really good American blended whiskey, or as they say on the website, a bourbon. But anyway, they make the product. I guess they know. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.